But every year in Parshas Korach, the sugya I discuss is what the story of Korach is all about. And in no other parsha in the Torah do we find such a striking episode about how terrible machlokes could be and how senseless machlokes could be. So the Chidush Harim said, Korach, those Naviim argued, Madua tisnaso al kahal Hashem. Why are you so arrogant and you have so much gaiva? Just a week ago in Parshas Baloischa, the Torah testifies, V'hu ish Moshe onav ma'oid mekol adam asher al pnei adamo. You gotta be out of your mind to accuse Moshe and to say you're a balgaiva. Say anything else, but don't be stupid and don't be ridiculous. Kodesh Baruch Hu is made V'hu ish Moshe onav ma'oid mekol adam asher al pnei adamo. Nobody was as humble as Moshe. And now Korach says, you're arrogant and you have so much gaiva, maduas nesasu. You're out of your mind. Accuse Moshe, you're at a tzayach, you're magala royas, you're a shefach domi, you're a oived avodah zorah, anything, but don't say you're a bal gaiva when the Torah says he was the most humble person ever to live. So the Chidush Harim says, in a time of machlokes, anything goes. Anything goes. And you could say the most stupid things, the most ridiculous accusations, and people will buy it, and people will buy into it. And that's Begnus of machlokes. And how terrible is the result of machlokes? Rashi brings, Beis Din Shalmato judges people only above the age of 13. Beis Din Shalmato waits till 20. Ba'avoina machlokes afataf nispim. Children died. Children pay the price. And that is how terrible machlokes could be. And that is why Chazal say, Loi motzo HaKodesh Baruch Hu kli machzik brocha liyisrael elo hasholem. And the Rambam writes in the very last halacha in Hilchos Chanukah, HaTorah nitno lasei sholem ba'olam drochei u'darkei noim v'chon nesivasei sholem. And the Rambam explains why Ner Beiser is more important than Ner Chanukah, Mishim Shlom Bayis. And the Rambam speaks not only about Shlom Bayis in your own little family, but Shalom of the world. Lo nitna Torah elo lasei sholem b'yolam. Because as terrible machlokes is, how magnificent Shalom is, and how important peace and harmony is for the Jewish people. Lekutei Torah of Reb Chaim Vital, quoting his great Rebbe, the Gaon, Reb Chaim Vital quotes a medrash. And the medrash says, B'shas churban habayis. Malach HaShoros asked HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Rabbeinu Shel Olam, you are Mekayim the mitzvahs you gave Klal Yisrael. But you're not Mekayim your own mitzvahs. V'shofach es domoi v'chisoher ba'afar, damam nishpach kemayim ve'ein kover. You gave a mitzvah of Kisi Adam, and you're not Makayim the Kisi Adam. You gave a mitzvah, V'yotzo akoyen es abayis, v'timo es abayis. First you empty the house, you take out all the vessels, and you were at Makayim. Bayis v'kol machmadeo olim be'esh. You gave a mitzvah, Oisa v'yes b'noi lo teshchatu b'yom echad. Tzidkiyahu and his children were murdered in the same day. So how come you were at Makayim the mitzvahs you gave us? And that is what Malach HaShoros asked. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu responded. What did he respond? The Medrash doesn't say. The Medrash doesn't say. So the Medrash asked these questions. The Malachim asked these questions. And the Riyah Kodesh gives the answer. Ki yepolam emchudavar ben dam ledam, ben din ledin, ben nega lenega. These refer to the three questions that the Malachim asked. Oisev esmanon es shchato, kisi adam, hatzoros hakelem, What was the answer? Divrei rivois b'shorech. These mitzvahs are somewhat a manifestation of midas harachamim, but b'shas machloikis there is no midas harachamim. B'shas machloikis, midas adin reigns supreme, and there is no rachamim. And that's the answer to these terrible, heart-wrenching questions. Divrei rivois b'shorecha. So how important it is, l'harbais sholem v'reis, and especially in a time of division, like the times we are living in, and there's so much strife and so much division and so much machloikis between different communities, and every individual needs to do in as much as he can do to bring sholem and achva and ahava and reis between people, between communities. Sometimes it's hard, sometimes it seems impossible, but everyone needs to make an effort in his own daled amis of his influence to bring achva, ahava, v'sholem v'reis, and peace and harmony between Jews. Lo motzu HaKadosh Baruch Hu kli machzik brocha elo hashalom. And I once explained, Libi Yoimeli, what is the expression kli machzik brocha? Moshe lamaha davedoima. Today, when you go to a shop that sells drinks, all the drinks are bottled, and you buy bottles with drinks. In the days of Chazal, people used to bring their own vessels and their own kalim, and the mozeg used to pour from his barrels. Everybody brought from his home, his own bottles and his own vessels and his own kalim. Zebo b'kadoi v'zebo b'chavitoi. And you went to the mozeg, and he poured from his huge barrels into your own kalim. So a person brings his kalim to the shop, and he wants yayin hameshamar and shemen efarsaman. I got a big Yerusha, and I want the best and most expensive you have to sell. And I don't know whether you are aware, well, if you're insane and you have a lot of money, you could buy a bottle of wine for $1,000 and more than $1,000. And you could drink a cup of wine that is worth $500 if you're crazy enough and you have enough money. So this person comes to the shop and he says, I want the most expensive yain hamishum v'shem efarsaman. And the shop owner looks into his vessels and he says, this kli is cracked. By the time you get home, it's going to be empty. For me, it's the best business I ever had. You're paying $1,000 to fill up this vessel. By the time you get home, you're going to be back here. But chaval, you know, it pains me because this kli is cracked. Go home and bring proper kelim. Kodesh Baruch Hu wants to give because the Kodesh Baruch Hu is a av rachum v'chanun. He wants to make us happy. He wants to give. And he pleads with us. Bring proper kelim. What are the kelim that could contain Birchas Shemayim me'al? Lo imotza HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yisrael kli machzik brocha elo hasholem. If we don't have sholem, everything is going to go to waste. All the brochas from the heavens will go to waste. And that is the expression, Lo imotza HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yisrael kli machzik brocha elo hasholem. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to give, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu has enough to give. All he's asking from us, bring proper kelim. Don't come to me with broken kelim. Everything is going to go to waste. So, and we should always be zoichet to what we say every day in the morning. Talmidei chachamim marbim sholem b'yolam. That is the duty of Talmidei chachamim, to bring harmony and peace and achva v'ava v'sholem v'reis to Beis Yisrael. V'yerosin shiachal kenu v'moim. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu should send us mevaser shalom, Yal Novi mevaser shalom sheyavoi v'yevaser shalom labonav, and we should be zoicha b'kol b'yameinu to see Yeshua Selamim and Bias Moshiach Tzedkenu b'mheiro v'yomeinu. Amen.